President Jacob Zuma will deliver his State of the Nation address to Parliament in about 2 weeks' time. The address outlines government's priorities for the rest of the year and also takes stock of the year that was. Key to the address is government programs and how all stakeholders will be engaged to bring a better life for all South Africans. South African National Civic Organisation, Gauteng provincial chair Aubrey Nxumalo now joins us in the studio to discuss some of the expectations from the President's State of the Nation address. Thanks for joining me, Mr. Nxumalo.
Thank you very much.
Now, as an organisation whose primary mandate is serving, the needs of the people, what are some of your expectations of the State of the Nation address next month?
Well, as a civic movement, we'll be expecting the President to touch base on the issues of education, especially spending more greater time around the issue of the foundation phase, challenges that were exposed on the student financing, those who are at tertiary level, the issue of a bailout plan in terms of ESCOM load shedding that were exposed to, because that has a negative effect on the side of business, on the side of resident. We'll also be expecting the speech to say something about economic development in terms of job creation, as you know, the challenges that we have a country. Integrated public transport system, something must be done urgently in terms of an urgent bailout on the e-toll. As you know, that as a country we borrowed close to 27 billion on the infrastructure that we have in Gauteng. So we'll be expecting the President to say something around that. The challenges that were exposed to in terms of water and sanitation, and of course economic development from the side of the township. We're more worried with the violence that has taken place in Soweto in terms of foreign nationalities.
And I'd like to touch on that a little later, but before I touch on that, now the reality is unemployment and labour unrest are big issues, and it's expected that the President will touch on some of those issues. Now, how is SANCO engaging with government in terms of curbing the high levels of unemployment, the high level of poverty even?
Well, as a revolutionary social civic movement as SANCO, we work very closely with the current government in various committees. We participate in various forums to assist as partners in terms of income generating projects that we also develop on our side to ensure that job creation, it's not a responsibility of the state alone. Ourselves as various NGOs and CBOs and partners as alliance partners, something must be done. So it's quite key and important, as you know, that the figures are increasing from time to time in terms of job creation. People are mostly affected, of course, is the young people and the graduate. So we are working very closely as constructive contributors in terms of assisting in terms of job creation.
Now, you've mentioned job creation quite a lot, and we can't ignore the recent violence that's happening, as you mentioned, with foreign-owned shops being looted in various townships. Now, it seems like the underlying issue there is an issue of small business. We know that the informal sector in South Africa is a really big potential job creator, and it's one that needs to be protected. What's your views on that as an organization? Because it seems like the big issue here is South African small business owners are saying that, you know what, these people are infiltrating our space and there's no regulation to stop them from infiltrating our space, and the result of that has been our shops closing down. So as an organization, what's your view on that? What should government be doing, and shouldn't that also play a big role in the SONA address in terms of the fact that job creation is a huge problem at the moment?
Well, our starting point as SANCO is that outrightly, currently and in the past, we have condemned violence that is directed to any other person. South Africa is a free and a democratic country. And of course, we agree with the Premier of Gauteng that we must have rules and regulation, that people who are running these shops, whether South Africans or foreigners, they must comply to certain regulations that were put in place, because we also expect them to pay tax. It's key and important, if we talk of township economic development, that it must be assisted by all various partners to ensure that that township grow. They have a very important role that they are playing in communities. As we have listened to, various people were interviewed, that people can walk in a close-by distance to buy milk, to buy bread. I think ourselves as South Africans is just we need to be more creative in terms of accepting them to do business. We must learn to live with them. The fact of the matter is that you can't wish them away.
But regulation is still a big issue, and you're saying that policy development needs to come in place in terms of that. Now, you've mentioned some of the expectations that you have. Yeah. What are some of the measures that you as an organization have to monitor that what is said actually happens? Because it's all good and well to have great policy, to say this is what we expect and this is what we want, but what are some of the measures that you have to monitor, and also, you know, holding the president and government accountable for what they say they will do?
Well, we're privileged as SANCO because we're strategic alliance partners in a number of forums where policies are crafted and created. We participate. We are a mass-based civic movement, so we're closer to the communities in terms of our branches, in terms of our regional structures and provincial structures. We pick it up very quickly, whatever is being said in terms of the state of address on the side of the president. If things 2-3 months down the line, they're not happening, it's very quickly for us to pick it up at that level. We serve in various meetings and forums where evaluations takes place. We attend a lot of izimbizos that is organized by local government, provincial and national government. So those are the check and balance that we've put in place. We do our own independent assessment internally in terms of our structures to check that what are the success stories. As the president will be speaking, is going to touch on a number of things that must happen. As you know, that we still have challenges of human settlement in terms of housing. And we still have challenges in terms of infrastructure development on the side of maintenance and repair. Our cities are decaying. So on our side, we'll also want to hear the president say something about climate change. And of course, his speech will also be talking about the progress, the past 12 months, what are the success stories and all those things. So when we engage with communities, we pick it up there.
Now, you mentioned that as SANCO, you are a strategic partner of government. Would you say that alliances with the ruling party can maybe, you know, give citizens the notion that they aren't really protected, based on the fact that your mandate is to make sure that the needs of the people are met?
Well, SANCO is not a political organization. We're not government. We're a mass-based civic movement. So we're independent on a number of issues. We have a strategic relationship with the ANC in terms of the historical background that you may know of and all those things. There are those concerned, but it's more important on our side that we want state to achieve and deliver on what they've committed, even the ruling party.
Mr. Nxumalo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, ma'am.